We are hanging live from the Northside Baptist Church. Terry Ford hanging out here until 3, but the good deeds are going on all week long. We are here at Northside Baptist Church collecting non perishable items for the folks in Greenville, Spartanburg, and Asheville, North Carolina, who were obviously affected by the huge weather events of the past week and a half. We're looking for baby wipes, baby diapers, baby food, formula, water, batteries, toiletries, feminine products, canned goods, you name it, we need it basically to help out those folks. So we will be here doing the show till 3 o'clock. Northside Baptist Church, they got a split deal today, 9 a.m. to 2. They'll be taking donations, and they'll come back again and go 4 to 6:30. Again, 4347 Sunset Boulevard in Lexington. I think it's 378, right, Tyler? You drive this road every day.
Yeah,
It's
Sunset
378, right?
Boulevard. If you're coming from Columbia, get off of the exit 61 where the Chick-fil-A is and go a little bit further past that, and it'll be down there on your left. It's the huge church parking lot. It's very hard to miss.
Yeah, so it's funny how you know it by the Chick-fil-A.
Well, I live one exit down, and I stop at that Chick-fil-A a lot. So I'm very familiar.
I bet you are. Anyway. All right, so please come out and bring any of those items we listed. We will be here today. Also, they'll be collecting at the 12 Springs Community Church tomorrow, then Thursday at the Brooklyn Baptist Northeast Church, and then on October 10th at the Brooklyn Baptist Church. So those are the different locations. We'll be doing this all week. And it's not just us, it's our entire, if you don't know, we're owned by Cumulus Media. It's our entire Cumulus Media family, B106, KISS FM, and obviously us here at the game will be out all this week, just trying to help a good cause and help some folks who really do need the assistance. All right. Obviously, Bengali Kamara is the story that broke here recently. Correct, Tyler, with
That is
Kamara.
correct. Yep.
Pulling out for the rest of the season. And, he's going to go into the portal. He wants to go somewhere from what Wes and Chris were talking about. And really, if you just kind of take a step back and look at it and think he wants to be a starter, he wants more playing time and more snaps, which I get it. I really do. But I'll say this, man. He's played well this year. That's a loss. Is it catastrophic? No. But when Bengali Kamara was on the field, he played well both against the run and in coverage.
Yeah, when he's rotated in, because again, we were so excited this offseason about the depth that you had this linebacker core to be able to get multiple guys on the field to where Debo Williams didn't have to go out there and play 95% of the snaps like it seemed like he played a season ago. And Bengali Kamara was one of those guys that was rotating in, quite a bit there. And when he was out there, he was making tackles, was able to make some plays, and somebody that you were excited about, especially if, God forbid, Demetrius Snyder or Debo wasn't able to go. You felt like you could plug him in and maybe one of those starting roles and would still be okay. And unfortunately for South Carolina, he's decided he wanted to preserve a redshirt year and go jump with the transfer portal when it opens up in December.
Whether it's the eye test, you saw how well he played. You look at Pro Football Focus grades. He's one of the highest graded defenders on the team. He's been really good this year for South Carolina. He's a guy that's not out there. He's not rushing the passer. That's not his bag. But he was excellent in the run game, good tackler, was solid in coverage, above average coverage grades. He was doing everything at an above average to good level when he was rotated in. It really does. Again, is it catastrophic? No, but it does hurt to lose a guy who was giving you that kind of quality.
Well, let's just look at it this past weekend. He was on the field for 30 defensive snaps against Ole Miss, which was the most total snaps he'd played this entire season. Like, this was a guy that was a serious part of what you were doing on defense. And like you said, making tackles, making plays, tackles for losses, those kind of things. So it's definitely a loss that's going to be felt.
But this is the world we live in, right? I mean, if you're Bengali Kamara, I get it. You were hoping to come and, get more run. You haven't gotten as much as you were hoping for. And you want to go and be a starter somewhere because, look, the reality is Bengali Kamara, when it comes to South Carolina, win games, go to a bowl game, and enhances NFL draft stock, right?
Sure.
It's tough to enhance your NFL draft stock when the most snaps you played in the game all year is 30.
To a degree, yes.
So I think that's part of this. I want to start, and I want to get more reps and more run. because again, I want to play more, but two, I also want to help show NFL scouts, what I can do to hopefully enhance my draft position. It's just the way the world works. And I think Wes and Chris brought this up when they said this was not, South Carolina got whooped by Ole Miss. I don't want any part of this football program anymore. This had been kind of been bubbling around, I do believe, right?
Yeah, because he didn't play in the Akron game 2 weeks ago. So he played against Ole Miss, which was the fourth game he'd played this season, which means there's a line in the sand. If he plays this weekend against Alabama, he loses the ability to preserve that extra year of eligibility. And given the fact that he's a fifth year guy, this was his last shot. So he only has one more
Mm-hmm.
4 year of eligibility left. He can take his red shirt, go to the transfer portal, and go play somewhere else to, in his hope, obviously, get more playing time and potentially improve his draft stock as well.
And of course, fans, and I get fans because I mean it's the human nature of, well, you're obviously a guy thinking about the back of your jersey more than the front of your jersey. Good riddance, screw you, goodbye. That's always the human nature thought, right?
Yes.
And I get that thought, but again, I know it's tough for fans, Tyler. We got to readjust how we think about everything now,
Yeah. No,
don't we?
it's the age of NIL and the transfer portal where guys have the ability. And I don't want to sit here and pretend to know what Bengali Kamara was making in NIL. I don't know if it would be a lot, if anything at all. So I'm not going to say it's him chasing a bag because I don't necessarily know at this point. But these guys have the ability to move to different rosters year over year, to go places that may offer them more money than the school that they're currently at. And that may be the factor of what he decided to do. Ultimately, your career is more in your hands now than it's ever been as a college athlete. And
And
I've
whatever.
I've always been pro player for these guys to the
Mhm.
ability to profit off their name, image, and likeness. And again, with the current parameters in place, you have the ability to control these kind of things. So a lot of guys are exercising that right, not only here but across the country.
And that the reality is, whether it's okay, I do want to be a starter, I want to get more snaps, I want to enhance my NFL draft stock, I want to get, like you said, a bigger bag, or maybe I just don't feel I fit for whatever reason, or I'm just not down with a style of coaching, whatever I'm not saying that about Bengali Kamar. I'm just saying in general, these guys have a bunch of different buckets now to where they take off. And everybody automatically thinks it's money. And sometimes it's not money. There's other factors. And we just went over seven of them off the top of our head, why you would want to transfer.
Yeah. No, and again, he doesn't he's not going to give us a press conference on the way out to say this is the exact reason why I decided to go. So we can speculate all we want, but at the end of the day, you have the power as a college athlete now to do these kind of things. And again, it's become we've coined the term self shirt. It's become rampant across the country that a lot of these guys are doing this to say, okay, well, I don't like this situation for whatever reason. I'm gonna take a red shirt year and go somewhere else to get whatever I want in the next school.
We saw our boy at UNLV do it, but his circumstance a little bit different. According to him, he was promised something he didn't get. But we're going to see guys doing what's best for themselves in this kind of manner. We're going to get to a point, Tyler, where that 4 or 5 week area, we're going to be seeing a lot more of this
Oh,
as a
it
college football
you know,
world moves.
we've almost made it like a mark on the calendar when the transfer portal opens. Now it's going to be
Mhm.
okay. End of week 3 or week 4 in college football. Let's see who's going to go ahead and redshirt themselves for this next year.
If Shane Beamer's presser coming up at 1, Shane will be addressing, and maybe he'll be asked about Bengali Kamar. He'll probably say he's no longer with the program, is my guess. But we'll hear from Shane with a bunch of different topics of conversation, looking back at Ole Miss, looking forward to Alabama. We are going to look back again and talk about a guy who really had a nice day on Saturday. There weren't many, but there was a guy who really showed up well, and we're going to get into that next here on the Halftime Show, broadcasting live from the Northside Baptist Church. Please bring non-perishable items. We are trying to help the folks in Greenville, Spartanburg, and Asheville. We'll be here till 3 o'clock. And we'll just keep doing it and ask you to help us out right here on the Halftime Show on the Game. As I sit here at the Northside Baptist Church, where as we do our show from noon to 3, I like to do this when we talk about the nest in the Vista on Gadsden. I like to look through the showroom online at KregerShowroom.com. You go and you can see, everything that there is to offer at the showroom at the Nest on Gadsden, the Vista. It's ridiculous how big and how nice the showroom is. You want lighting fixtures, new stuff for your home, they're everywhere. You want appliances, the new shiny cool stuff. They've got so many appliances for every budget, every size to fit your kitchen. They have got tubs. They have got fixtures to maybe change up the look of the sink. Just give them a call. Yeah, give them a call at the Nest. They will get you set up in the Vista on Gadsden 1331. It is the Nest. They will make your housing dreams come true at the Nest. Oh, we are talking about what happened Saturday, unfortunately, at Williams-Brice Stadium. The loss to Ole Miss. Halftime show, Terry Ford, Tyler Head, broadcasting live, Northside Baptist Church. Please come out today. We are collecting non-perishable items to ship to the folks in Greenville and Spartanburg and Asheville. All sorts of different things. Bottled water, canned goods, diapers, baby wipes, baby formula / baby food, pet food, toiletries, feminine protection products. Almost you name it, they need it in those areas. And they're still struggling. Some people are still without power, still without water. It's still tough going. So please come on out here today. We'll be here till 2:30 and then back again at 4:30 with the folks here at Northside Baptist Church. So come on out all afternoon. We're doing our show here till 3 here on the game. Terry Ford, Tyler had the halftime show. Shane Beamer, 1 o'clock with his presser. All right, Tyler. So the one guy who I think stuck out, played very well on Saturday was Judge Collier.
Absolutely.
Judge Collier, like my kid would say, balled out, Dad. And when I say it, it sounds so hip, doesn't it?
Oh, totally.
So Judge Collier, especially when he was on Juice Wells, he made some really nice plays attacking the ball against Juice Wells. And, Collier in coverage, I think he had the best coverage grade on the team, or the second best coverage grade per Pro Football Focus. So Judge Collier really played well. And in all this and negativity and, oh, my God, that was awful, I didn't want to forget the fact that, Judge Collier had himself a good football game.
And I think it's worth noting the defense as a whole did not get shredded by Ole Miss. Now, yes, Ole Miss did miss some very, good plays downfield with some deep throws that were dropped, or the coverage was just good. So there was the potential they could have lit them up a little bit more, but holding them to 27 points, all things considered, is not the worst day at the office. And again, I think South Carolina did a good job containing Trey Harris. Like you said, Judge Collier did a really good job. Obviously, on his coverage of Juice Wells, DQ Smith with punching the ball out as Juice Wells was about to cross the goal line. There, a heads-up defensive play, obviously. So there were a few little bright spots throughout the day on what South Carolina did do on defense.
Speaking of Juice Wells, and he had a couple of catches and made a couple of plays, also had the fumble, like you said. When he caught his first pass, and DQ Fortune just missed it, knocking it away, and Juice Wells makes the catch, goes for a first down. He got up, and I forget what wide receiver it was, but his teammate came running over and said, "Dude, nothing. Come on, we got to go line up.
Don't
play fast
play
here.
into it.
Right, we play fast here, dude. Don't get caught up in it. And give the ball to the ref and get back to the line."
I wish you could have been in attendance here, because I don't think the TV did it justice. When he caught that long ball and is running down the field towards the end zone, how loud the booing was at that point in time was one of the louder things I've heard in Williams-Brice Stadium. And then it went to straight elation once DQ Smith popped the ball out and it fumbled out of the back of the end zone.
Yeah. Nice 180 there. Look, we knew that was coming. And like we said, look, you pay, as long as you're not going over a line, you want to boo, you want to whatever. I mean, that's your right as a fan. And that thing ended clunky with Juice Wells. Now, did Wells walk off the field? His team have a W? Sure. Did he have a few catches? Yeah. But he also had that big fumble, like you said, that went out of the end zone. DQ Smith made a fantastic play on.
Yeah, it wasn't Jermaine Couisnard where he went out there and, had 200 yards through the air and 3 touchdowns. He didn't, have a career day against you. So if you're looking for silver linings, there's that at least.
Yeah. And Judge Collier, again, going back to it, really good in coverage. O'Donnell Fortune had he's been really good this year in coverage. O'Donnell Fortune had a couple of rough moments on Saturday against Ole Miss.
Well, and he got banged up
Judge
too,
Collier
so that didn't help.
Yeah, exactly. So, again, it was a tough day at the office, a 27-3 loss to Ole Miss against Shane Beamer. We'll be talking a ton about that coming up at 1 o'clock here on the game in Columbia. Okay, what happened last night? Well, it always happens. Chiefs play a football game and they win. That's what they do.
They play football games with one hand tied behind their back, self-done, by the way. They stumble on a few things, step on some Legos, but they still manage to win, which at the end of the day is all that really matters, is they continue to be one of the best teams in football despite not playing like it.
And it's interesting because up until last year, the offense carried everything, right?
Sure.
Carried the defense, carried the special teams, carried the cheerleaders, the mascots. The offense carried everything. Since last year, everything's carrying the offense.
Yeah,
how weird is that?
It is a dynamic shift for sure.
And Mahomes had arguably his best day of the season last night. Threw for well over 300, was pretty efficient, did have a pick, didn't throw a touchdown pass. They dusted off Juju Smith-Schuster, and he went off and all of a sudden became the Juju Smith-Schuster of 8 years ago?
Yeah.
But this is what Kansas City does. They're a 5-0, Tyler, and in every game you watch them play, even last night to a point, you just kind of went, they're still undefeated.
Yeah, it's not pretty by any means, but when you have a good defense and one of the best, maybe the best defensive coordinator on the NFL right now, and Steve Spagnuolo, then you're going to have an opportunity to win every single game. And the final score does not indicate how dominant they were in that
Yeah.
game last night. They just could not convert in red zone opportunities to touchdowns compared to field goals, which has been a struggle for them the entire season.
But that was my point. Last night they should have won by 50. What, 3-4 years ago they do win by 50
Of course.
because Mahomes has 4 or 5 touchdown passes. Kelsey goes for a $175. All the wide receivers eat, and they're walking off the field 52-13 over a New Orleans Saints team that they clearly outmatched.
Right.
So here's the thing, though, the Chiefs. Here's my question. First of all, I think in our world today, I marvel at teams with a ton of expectation who meet it or exceed it. I think it's so difficult to do with all the noise you hear today and all the mess that goes on in the sports world. So I give the Chiefs their props for what they are, and they're right now the dynasty in the NFL. Have they reached a point where you're chiefed out yet?
No. I asked this question in the offseason of, do the Chiefs ever get to the level where they have like Patriots type of hate? I don't think so. Obviously Andy Reid is a very likable coach, unless you're in the AFC West as well. So I think that Patrick Mahomes seems like a likable type of guy. Yeah, the things that his wife and brother do are notwithstanding, and obviously you have the Taylor Swift aspect that a lot of people get frustrated at with Travis Kelce, but I don't think they are as hateable as like those Patriots teams were, 20 some odd years ago when they were at the height of their dominance. I still think there's a lot of redeeming qualities and just fun qualities of watching the Chiefs because yeah, they're not playing their best football right now, but they're still a fun team to watch. And Patrick Mahomes does amazing and dazzling things at a pretty regular clip that is kind of appointment TV if you just love watching good football.
Now that was going to go to my next point. So I don't think the Chiefs are hateable either. I don't think they're a hateable crew. But are you to the point of it's like I'm tired of them winning? Because
No,
we get to that, right? We like Golden
eventually we all
State
do.
in the NBA. We got tired of Golden State. Remember, it went from Steph Curry's so cute. Oh, look, he's holding his daughter at the press conference. This is like Disney. And fast forward a few years later, I bleeping hate Steph Curry. I bleeping hate the Warriors. That was what did that the sports world all of a sudden turned. They just got tired of them because they were so good
Yeah.
and they
No.
won all the time.
Listen,
Are we there yet with the Chiefs?
No, we're not there yet. We love parity. We don't want to see dominance, though it's kind of funny in hindsight because, now we're talking about, man, how lucky were we that we got to witness the Patriots dynasty for 20 years. It's like, where was that attitude 4 or 5 years ago when they were still winning Super Bowls? You know what I mean? So we appreciate it when it's finally gone to know that we witnessed greatness in whatever degree that is. But when you're in the middle of it and it's one team consistently winning over and over again, the Chiefs got a very good shot. If they're winning like this while not playing their best, whenever they click it in gear, they might be unbeatable at that point in time. They could be well on their way to another Super Bowl.
I feel like the AFC's kind of taken a step back in a lot of ways too.
Yeah.
I think the one team that could emerge to make it scary is the Houston Texans with that young core. And it feels like, Coach Ryans has got it going on there. So that's the one team. But I think Baltimore's kind of taken a step back. Cincinnati, Buffalo. It's going to be interesting in the AFC. All right, we are hanging here at Northside Baptist Church. We are here till 3 doing the halftime show. Terry Ford, Tyler Head back Mission Control. Here at Northside, they'll be collecting donations till 2:30. Then they'll come back again at 4:30 and go 4:30 to 6:30. Again, Northside Baptist Church, right here on Sunset. Can't miss it in Lexington. Big old building. It says Northside on it. You can see us as you left-hand side if you're leaving Columbia. If you're coming in from other areas like toward Lexington down the road, it'll be on the right-hand side. So come on out. Non-perishable food, non-perishable items. Please help out as we are trying to support the folks in Greenville, Spartanburg, and Asheville, North Carolina who are having issues. All right, halftime show. Terry Ford, Tyler Head. More Carolina talk. Is it time to move forward for Bama? We'll get into that next here on the halftime show on the game. How are you, man? You doing good? Halftime show, Terry Ford, Tyler Head, as we roll this baby, kind of finishing up our thoughts on what happened Saturday at Williams-Brice with the 27-3 Ole Miss win over South Carolina. And we are broadcasting live, Northside Baptist Church. Again, we will be here till 3. Northside Baptist will collect non-perishable items till 2:30, then take a little break, and then come back at 4:30 and go 4:30 to 6:30. Again, here on Sunset Boulevard. As you head, if you're coming out of Columbia, obviously, and you're heading toward Lexington on the left-hand side of the road. If you're coming in from the other direction, it's on the right-hand side of the road. See how easy that was? That's simple. And you see the big sign that says Northside. Can't miss it on the building. So we'll be here, like I said, till 3 o'clock with the halftime show. Shane Beamer's presser coming up at 1 o'clock here on the game. Tyler, circle back to this real quick. The offense, look, in the SEC, you just got to be better. And this team was offensively, up until Lenore Sellers got hurt against LSU, they were very, very efficient / explosive at times. Against Kentucky, they got it rolling. Akron, I mean, it's Akron. And, they boat raced Akron. But it's just a lack of consistency. And what we saw on Saturday against the best defensive talent probably they'll face all around. Look, Deion Walker's a freak at Kentucky, right?
Yep.
But if you take the collection of defenders, and Princely wasn't playing on Saturday for Ole Miss. Ole Miss, I think, has a better collection of defenders talent-wise than Kentucky. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think that's fair to say.
So going up against the most talented defense they had faced all year, they really struggled. And they got some more talented defensive squads they got to face. But I was reading this over the weekend, and you brought it up, I think, earlier with Jack. The good news in all this is that you're not going up against rugged run defenses the rest of the year.
Yeah, most of the run defenses South Carolina is going to face for the rest of the SEC slate are in the back half of the conference in terms of rush yards allowed per game. So, and Ole Miss is the best one that you're going to see the entire year because they're number one in the SEC. So you do get a little bit of reprieve in that area. And again, for an offense that's about 70% runs for South Carolina, that hopefully can play to their benefit in the weeks to come.
When we look at the offense, it starts again offensive line. Lenore Sellers was pressured on 45.5% of his dropbacks. That's not good.
No, it's not.
That's not good at all. No. I've never coached the offensive line in my life, but I don't think that's a very good number when half your dropbacks end up in pressure.
No, and look, every single sack is not necessarily squarely on the offensive line. He had some perimeter protection issues, as we've seen the entire season as well. And obviously, Lenore Sellers, when he's running around, does put himself in some situations where that does kind of open things up to him getting hit a little bit more. But regardless, South Carolina has given up the most sacks in all of college football to this point this season, with 22 so far in the season. So, yes, they're tracking to give up more than they did a year ago, which is hard to believe, and something that definitely needs to get corrected as you continue to face some very good pass rushing teams coming up later this year.
Per statbroadcast.com, Ole Miss had 6 sacks. 2 for Walter Nolan, 2 for Jared Ivey, 1 apiece, TJ Daughtry, and the young fellow Perkins, who was playing for Princely. 6 sacks. If you look at Pro Football Focus, 15 pressures given up, 6 by Josiah Thompson, who really had a tough go against an excellent Ole Miss defensive front. It's not a surprise, Tyler, to be fair, that a raw, true freshman had his hands full with that Ole Miss front. Not a surprise.
No, not at all. And again, he's somebody that's coming along. It's a learning process. I don't say we're giving him a pass on some of the issues that he's had, but it's understandable compared to some of the other guys in the offensive line that have had more consistent issues as well.
Kamar Bell, Rashawn Lee, and Josiah Thompson all had pass blocking grades under 60. 60 is where you want to be, 60 and above. Above 60, Torricelli Simpkins was at 63.5. The best pass blocking grade was Kason Henry. And at 82.7, Tyler, which is a phenomenal grade.
I don't believe that.
Again, the grade's the grade. My eyeballs didn't match the grade. I'm just going to say that.
Yeah, I agree.
2 pressures given up by Kason Henry on 49 pass attempts. Kason Henry, again, the best pass blocking grade for South Carolina. Shane Beamer, we will hear from the ball coach. Presser coming up at 1 o'clock here on 107.5 The Game in Columbia. We'll hear what Shane has to say about what happened last Saturday and what's going to be maybe happening this upcoming Saturday in Tuscaloosa. That's coming up on. We talked about maybe looking for a job at times. Maybe you want to change your career, kind of change your path. Well, American Italian Pasta Company, a Winland Foods company, a pasta manufacturer, has been located in Columbia for over or nearly 30 years, I should say. They make their own brand of pasta, also Mullers, a lot of different stuff. They are looking for folks to come join their team. They offer very competitive compensation, benefit package, including a quarterly hourly bonus program, very employee friendly time off, a lot of PTO that's very employee friendly again. They also have paid parental leave, 401k match. Basically, if you're looking to change your career, they have openings for industrial, multi-craft maintenance techs, press operators, packaging operators. It's very simple. Go to winlandfoods.com/careers. Just go check it out and see if it's something to be interested in with Winland Foods. Change your life. Man, it's nice out here. Northside Baptist Church. We are hanging till 3 o'clock with the halftime show. Terry Ford, Tyler Head back in mission control, keeping us on the air, which we totally appreciate because God knows I can't do it. So we are waiting for Shane Beamer to go to the podium for his 1 o'clock Tuesday presser, his meeting with the media. That's coming up in a matter of seconds here on the game. And again, here at Northside Baptist, non-perishable items for the folks in Greenville, Spartanburg, and Asheville. We are talking just like bottled water, canned goods, diapers, baby formula, baby wipes, feminine protection products, pet food. I mean, all sorts of different things to help people out who need it right now in those areas who are suffering from shortages and some real issues. So we'll be out here till 3. The folks at Northside Baptist will collect till 2:30, take a 2-hour break, come back and go 4:30 to 6:30. Again, this is on Sunset Boulevard in Lexington at the Northside Baptist Church. We'll be going different locations all week long, getting the word out um, for this really worthy cause. And we thank all of our partners here in the Midlands who are joining us in this endeavor. All right, Shane will take the podium here in just a couple minutes. Talk about, again, some things, what happened last Saturday in the loss to Ole Miss, and moving forward to take on a very annoyed and angry group Alabama, who I'm going to say this out loud. I never thought we'd say this out loud. Lost to Vandy. Wow. I give Vandy credit, man. They played well. Here is Shane on the game.
Now, let's hear from the coach. Shane Beamer's press conference, sponsored by Crescent Construction, the official roofer of the Gamecocks.
All right, and that was Shane Beamer's weekly presser. We'll come back, discuss what we heard from Coach Beamer as the halftime show rolls along. Tyler Head and Terry Ford on your Tuesday here in the game.
Okay. What we're talking about is Shane Beamer's presser. Just rolled here in Columbia, 107.5 the game. The one thing, Terry Ford Tyler had halftime show. We are live at Northside Baptist Church. Again, they will be collecting for another, let's see here, about an hour. Then they'll take a little break and pop back out 4:30 to 6:30. We are here collecting non-perishable items for the folks in Greenville, Spartanburg, and also Asheville, who have been dealing with all the issues with the weather situations that we had in the past week and a half, roughly, here, not only in the Midlands, but obviously in the upstate and in North Carolina. So, I mean, basically, look, it's bottled water, any kind of supplies for a baby, whether it's diapers, wipes, formula, baby food, pet food. Pets have to eat too. Also, toiletry items, feminine protection products, canned goods, anything that can help out, please bring it by. We don't care if you got a big, gigantic truck full or if you just got like a bag full. We don't care. Anything's appreciated and helpful. Again, we are here at the Northside Baptist Church on Sunset in Lexington. We'll be here till 3 o'clock doing the halftime show, and we'll be all over the area this week. Not just us here at the game, but also our sister stations in the Cumulus family here in Columbia. Kiss FM, B106 also will be out in different places. We want to thank our partners all over the Midlands helping us out with this endeavor like today here at the Northside Baptist Church. All right, so as we sit, Tyler, and kind of take in what Shane had to say, first of all, Bengali Kamara, it was interesting. Shane basically was like, look, let's have a conversation, man. Let's talk about this first. And I really think that obviously Shane was trying to say, look, you're important in what we're doing. You got 30 snaps on Saturday. Your role is important to us. Are you going to get as many snaps as maybe a starter somewhere else? No, but you're very impactful in what you're doing. And, you're helping us, you've helped us, be 3-2, even though you missed a game. And Bengali Kamara, it feels like said, look, I need to go where I can, start or get more run or, get on the field more, whatever the case is. And then Shane was like, well, I made that decision. It's time to move on.
I think it's almost kind of funny the way that he described what went down, where it's like, yeah, he came in and told me he was going to redshirt, and Shane was like, that's not exactly how this works, buddy. Like, we got to have a conversation about it, which, again, this is a relatively new thing that we're still dealing with, across the board in college football. There's no, blueprint, I guess, for these guys and how they go about it. I guess a lot of them do walk in and say, hey, I'm going to redshirt, I'm going to go to the transfer portal. It's like, no, we got to dig a little bit deeper than that. But again, they couldn't come to an agreement, and Bengali Kamara is going to go pursue another opportunity somewhere else next year when the transfer portal does open coming up in December. And like Beamer said, I mean, wish him the best of luck, and it hopefully does not affect South Carolina's defensive rotation too much.
Well, when you look at it from Shane's perspective, remember we dealt with this last year as well. And I just look at it like I get players now. I'm like you, I'm pro player in this stuff because the lack of movement and the way you couldn't move from college to college with any sense in the old formula was not right.
Right.
So I am obviously, hey, you should be free to move around. It's like anything though, Tyler, and I go back to this all the time. You know what we need?
Collective bargaining agreement.
Collective bargaining agreement that says this is what you can do. This is how you can handle redshirting. This is how you can handle years of eligibility. Because again, a guy, look, to be fair, this is all you can do, right? If it's your last year and things from whatever reason haven't gone the way you wanted them to, and you want that one last bite at the apple, and you've got to go after 4 games or you lose that bite of the apple. But it's just not a great look. It really isn't, even though I understand it.
Well, it's not a great look, especially from the standpoint of, somebody that like Bengali Kamara, that again, if Demetrius Knight or Debo Williams went down, suddenly he's playing a ton of snaps, and who knows, that could present an opportunity to raise your draft stock in doing that. And obviously you hope those kind of things don't happen, but it sucks that you do lose somebody that was important to your rotation. And again, played the most snaps he played the entire season this past Saturday against Ole Miss, but he made the decision that he made. And, now we gotta hopefully doesn't affect the team too much.
Lawyer Lisa special teams contest, $600, right?
That's correct.
$600 if South Carolina scores a special teams touchdown this Saturday. Someone will win $600 on the early game. The following Monday, we do the drawing at 7:30. Again, go to 1075thegame.com. Look for that little flippy thingy on the website. Click on Lawyer Lisa and fill out the short form and submit, and you're qualified for your chance to possibly win $600 this week. We'll find out. Lawyer Lisa Special Teams Contest. Northside Baptist Church, we are hanging out here till 3, collecting non-perishable items for the folks in Greenville, Spartanburg, and Asheville. We'll talk more about that on the other side. And Firehouse Subtext the hour next on the halftime show here on the game. From the Northside Baptist Church, hanging out here in Lexington. Terry Ford, Tyler Head back in Mission Control. It is the halftime show. And we will be here up until 3 o'clock, just kind of getting you, kind of getting the idea out that we are trying to help folks in Greenville, Spartanburg, and Asheville with non-perishable items. Please stop in. They will be collecting here till 2:30. Then they'll start back up again at 4:30 and go till 6:30 here at the Northside Baptist Church on Sunset in Lexington. All right, time for our Firehouse Sub Text the hour, 803-404-6100. Since we didn't do one last hour, let's do two. Tyler, go for it.
Try and get a couple in here. A lot of people not pleased necessarily with what they heard from Shane Beamer. Nama's text says Shane seems to be in a great mood for someone who just got boat raced.
Well, I mean, isn't that one of those where no matter what you say is really going to appease the whole world?
Yeah,
Right.
the press conference doesn't fix the issues plaguing this team. No matter what he says, it doesn't change what happens on the field.
Right. And I mean, I get the idea that, oh, well, he's in too good of a mood. Or if he was in a bad mood, hey, what are you so emotional about? Hey, lighten up a little bit. You're still three, you're still 3-2. Hey, this, it's almost like that point. We've had these conversations on this show before that whether it's coaches, GMs, owners, players, at some point, certain people reach that level where nothing they say is good enough.
Yeah.
Right.
And I was going to say that matches Coach Beamer's personality. He's just kind of a naturally optimistic, happy guy. And, it's been now 2 days, 3 days since that game happened on Saturday. So you would imagine he's going to be in better mood today. That's just kind of how it usually is.
I mean, remember what was it? Was it last year, the year before? It was last year, early in the year. He kicked something. Or was it the year before?
He kicked the bucket in the locker room after losing the Florida game last year and hurt his foot.
And he got criticized for that. And again, he's showing emotion. He's not happy with the loss. He's frustrated. And remember Paul Feinbaum went after him about it.
Yeah.
I mean, no matter what you do, you can't win. There's a coach showing fire, being frustrated over a game you should have won, and he's showing emotion, and he got criticized for that. Now, if he walks out and doesn't show emotion, what, don't you care, fella?
Yeah.
What's wrong with you? And you hit it. Look, that game was Saturday. Today is now Tuesday at 1 o'clock. Do you want him to continue to be in a bad mood and scream and yell and fight, yell at the family, break furniture? I mean, look, you didn't play well Saturday. You took a loss. You took a bad loss. Now, you know what? The season isn't over, Tyler. You know what you got coming up next?
Alabama.
In Tuscaloosa.
Yes.
You got to get past Ole Miss. You learn from it. You watch the film. What can we do better? Did we do anything we liked? Okay, now we got to get ready for a team that just lost to Vanderbilt, who the week before beat Georgia. But an Alabama team that you can move the ball on. If you look at what Georgia and Vanderbilt did, there might be some stuff there. There you go. Hey, this isn't the typical, vaunted Alabama defense. This one you can move the ball on. So you got to move forward, man. You can't stay stuck in it. And I get fans. It was a bad loss. It was terrible. I mean, South Carolina wasn't in the football game. What do you think, Tyler? From middle first quarter, you were chasing a 2-score lead. I get it.
Yeah, once Ole Miss went up by 2 touchdowns, I think most of us thought the game was kind of over at that point.
Yeah, so look, everyone's frustrated. They're annoyed. They didn't see that coming. I didn't see it coming in that fashion. And so, yeah, you're not happy. But the head coach, he's got to move forward and get ready for the next game. He can't stay stuck in – because, if you stay stuck in the last one, you know what that helps you do?
Lose the next one.
Yep. You got to get moving forward for the next one. Because you know what? If you found a way to, quote-unquote, shock the world and go to Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and beat the Tide on their home field, now guess what? Different taste in the fan base.
Everything is right in the world all of a sudden.
Yes. And all of a sudden, you're 4-2. You need 2 more wins for bowl eligibility. You just knocked off Bama in their crib. But I understand. I mean, fans are upset, and they want the people who coach and play and administrate to be as upset as they are, right?
Pretty much.
That's just who we are as fans. That's just the way we are. So I appreciate the text, 803-404-6100. As a whole, the text line not happy with the presser. Is that what you're telling me?
There's a few. And just kind of watching the live chat, which, again, the live chat's usually pretty negative anyway. But I think people were expecting more, but I don't know what he could have said that would have changed what happened on Saturday.
I get it. I understand. Everybody's frustrated. We have a Twitter X poll we put up to kind of take a look at some thoughts on the offense. We're going to get to that next. Coming up, what's trending at 2, sponsored by Gamecock Traditions and Traditions Fine Jewelry, right here on the Halftime Show live from Northside Baptist Church. We'll talk about while we're here, also coming up next here on the Halftime Show on the game. Hmm? I don't know if it's a computer. Yeah, this sounds like a computer. My battery's running low anyway. Hey, Tyler, my battery's now about to die. Okay. 803-875-MENS, the Men's Clinic of South Carolina. Let's say you just aren't feeling right. You're not feeling like you, and you're concerned, but you want to talk to anybody because you're a guy. And we're tough. We're men. Just call 803-875-MENS. Set up a free consultation at the Men's Clinic. What you could be going through could be low testosterone. You're not as strong as you used to be in the gym. You don't recover as well from workouts. You're not sleeping well. You can't remember things. Drive, life drive, sex drive, professional drive, personal drive, it's all just gone haywire. Again, it could be just low testosterone. Go over to the Men's Clinic, do a free confidential consultation. And if it is low T, they'll put you on a program making you feel like you again. It's the Men's Clinic of South Carolina. Make the call, feel better. Men's Clinic. What's trending at 2, sponsored by Traditions Fine Jewelry and Gamecock Traditions. Terry Ford, Tyler Head, and Elijah Campbell will be jumping in with us. He just came over from Shane Beamer's presser. Real quick, and Elijah knows because he put the Twitter poll up. Our Twitter X poll. We went with this one today. And fellas, you can jump in as well and vote. Poll question of the day. What concerns you the most about the Gamecocks offense? We gave you 4 choices. OC/play calling, quarterback play, lack of explosiveness at wide receiver, offensive line. I'll start with you, Tyler. Well, who do you think's ahead?
In terms of the Twitter poll itself, I'm going to assume it's play calling.
Yes, by a very wide margin. And we have a lot of these on the comments. E, all of the above. That wasn't a choice.
Also a fair answer, though.
Yeah. So, Elijah, how high do you think the percentage is on OC play calling?
I want to say it's like 62%, and I only know that because I looked right before I
You
walked
just
in.
Looked at it. I was getting ready to say.
I studied.
If you're good.
Well,
if you're going to pretend to make yourself look good, you go, I don't know, Tara, 60, 61%?
To be fair, you did ask the guy to put the poll up.
Yeah, but I didn't
very
think
true.
you looked just now, though. I thought he had some kind of moral scruples. I was obviously wrong.
Yeah, you assumed wrong on that last part there. There are none. I have been corrupted.
All right, so, fellas, let's take a look at the poll really quick. Let me talk about this to open the show, and I know you guys talked about this yesterday when I was under house arrest. There's a lot of people who are talking about the play calling or the offense in general, whether it's the scheme, the system, the play calling, whatever. Lacking creativity. Why does Juju McDowell run between the tackles? Why has, Nick Harbor not had one target over 20 yards? There are things that people are asking at this point because after 5 games, yes, offense looked great against Akron. It's Akron. Looked good in the first half against LSU. Looked good in spurts against Kentucky. But obviously had a ton of struggles against the most talented defense on paper that they had played all year in Ole Miss. How much of this do you look at from just play calling, offensive scheme, offensive system, whatever? Or do you also say, yeah, but you know what? When players execute and make plays, everybody looks good.
Yeah, I would say a lot of it is, I don't think it's as much play calling as maybe the rest of our, poll would indicate. I think that's a little bit of the issue. I think you need to be able to at least be a threat to throw the ball downfield, and being a threat to throw the ball downfield would indicate doing it more than one time throughout the course of 4 quarters. But I think the biggest thing really is execution, especially on the offensive line, because look, you are limited in play calling if you can't pass protect really well. If you can't pass protect really well and your quarterback has to scramble outside of the pocket each time, then you're not going to be able to let a lot of plays develop. Then you can't really do a lot of play action, right? Like one of the reasons why Ole Miss's offense is really good, not because they just have great athletes, but they run play action well over half the dropbacks and pass attempts. That's like one of their strengths. And you can't do that if you don't have a really good offensive line. Like the play needs to be able to develop a little bit. And I thought South Carolina run blocking could have been better, but for the most part, you still picked up sack adjusted like 4.7, almost 5 yards a carry. You moved the ball like fairly well, but there are some small detail things. And I thought that was one of my biggest takeaways from Shane's presser today, was that schematically, I don't think they're that concerned. I think there's a lot of small details that need to be hammered home. And a lot of that is fundamentals. That comes more to me, more of a player development issue than a play calling and scheme issue. I think there's some serious development issues that are really hindering what this offense can do, because all the progress you seemingly made through 4 weeks completely relapsed and fell back down to earth in the course of just one game. You got the ball past the 50 7 times and came away with 3 points. That you're doing good enough to get past the 50-yard line, but what's not clicking to get you into the end zone? I feel like there's a lot of different developmental things individually that are being kind of looked over right now.
It's different things, right? Because if you could just zero in on one thing, because we always talk about the offensive line, because it's been such a problem here for, all 4 years Shane has been the head coach. But also there's more to than just the offensive line. Yes, it's got to get better. And yes, it fell back a bit against Ole Miss. But blocking by the tight ends in pass protection, the backs in pass protection, that's been a problem this year. Lenore Sellers, is he seeing the field? Is he going through progressions? Is it still like, looking like a big cloudy, or like the great Sam Darnold would say, I see ghosts? I mean, how much of it the receivers aren't getting separation and getting open? There's so much to it when you only score 3 points. Yes, we always go to the coaching, and obviously that's a big component of it, but there's more to it than that. I mean, you talk about development. I mean, that's part of coaching as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Player development.
The biggest part of coaching, you could argue.
Yeah, I mean, Lenore Sellers, we thought he was getting better. Now, again, you can't go crazy over one game. You can't. And Ole Miss has got some dudes on defense, to be fair. But how do we feel after 5 games of what Lenore Sellers has been doing? He's been hurt. That hasn't helped the growth or development, right? Mm-hmm. So that's a thing. But is he growing and developing? Do we see where he's getting more comfortable? Is the game slowing down for him? Is he going through progressions before taking off? Or is he still, I got to get the hell out of this pocket fast? I think those are legit questions because, we've seen this. Look at Vanderbilt right now, guys. Look at Vanderbilt. What's the biggest difference with Vanderbilt? They got a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
They got a dude making plays. All of a sudden, Vanderbilt's beating Alabama and taking out Virginia Tech. And hell, they should have won a cup. They had Ole Miss on the ropes. I mean, they are a different football team with a really good quarterback. And so if you can get your quarterback to the level of playmaker, that just makes everything better. I'm not blaming Lenore Sellers. I'm just saying going to that development piece we're talking about. I mean, is he the most important development piece on this football team moving forward for the rest of the year, Tyler?
Yeah, no, I definitely think so.
Here's the thing, too. That's one thing that kind of puzzled me with Lenore's, too, from the game on Saturday. Like, when you got into the red zone, that one interception, I think, was the most perplexing. And the more I watch it, the more I'm kind of just puzzled. Do you not see the safety, right? Because he threw it into double coverage. And the safety seemingly read his eyes and just picked the play off from the time that he rolled out. So to me, I watch a play like that, and I'm like, how are you going through progressions? How are you able to improvise when a play does break down? Because quite frankly, with this offensive line, the play is going to break down a little bit, so that's going to be a big part of running this offense. It's really tough with Lenore's. I think part of the struggles from Saturday was maybe not being fully healthy during a bye week, right? That's one of the reasons why, you don't risk injury with him playing against Akron, but I would have loved to have seen him play against Akron to continue the positive momentum he had after that first half against LSU. Maybe he was rusty in a sense in that first part of the Ole Miss game. That was why I had a hard time getting going. And maybe that's why you get to the 50-plus yard line, 7 different times and only come away with 3 points, because he is not in the rhythm he was when you go all the way back to that first half against LSU, which I think we have seen that's the best we have seen of Lenore Sellers in meaningful football. There's some development stuff. I mean, look, there's so many good, talented redshirt freshmen across the country right now. Nico Iamaleava had his worst game of his career on Saturday. Jackson Arnold is benched because he is not playing well at all. There are a lot of players that are really on quarterback specifically that are having their freshman moments, right? I think part of that with Sellers definitely exists to a degree, but now is the time of the year too, where you've got a good sample size. You know exactly what your personnel is around them. You got to start making a lot of those detailed changes within the offense in terms of just getting guys in the right position to maximize their skill sets. And it's unfortunate that we're still having that conversation 5+ games into the season. But I think Lenore's is a part of that whole equation as well.
Well, the other part of it, and by the way, the game that Vandy should have won was Missouri, not Ole Miss. I misspoke. They had Missouri on the ropes and should have beat them. Again, that bleeping kicker. But the part of what with Lenore Sellers, and you're right, missing that Akron game, that could have been 4 quarters or maybe 3 quarters of reps against a team that you should be able to make yourself feel confident, right? I mean, that's a game where we saw what Robbie Ashford did. I mean, Robbie Ashford had the best game maybe in his career against Akron, throwing it, running it, making plays.
He was Mike Vick for a half.
Yes. I mean, he was doing all sorts of fantastic things against Akron. And a young quarterback like Lenore Sellers, he's been in the program now. This is year 2, but, getting on the field for his first year as a starter, losing that game of reps is important. And we say this all the time, Elijah. confidence is confidence, man. It doesn't matter who you're playing. You're feeling good about you. And if you go out there and you drop a 50 burger on Akron and Lenora Sellers goes 20 for 23 for, 275 and also runs for 104, he's not going, yeah, but guys, that was Akron. No, he's walking the field going, I tore it up. And that's very important in the growth of a quarterback. And you don't want to make too much of a loss. I mean, I think the thing, though, that gets me, and I'll ask you, is, coming off a bye week where you've had a week to prepare. And Shane's teams have for the most part, been at least held their own coming out of bye weeks. Were you surprised, especially with the momentum this team was carrying at 3-1, that they played as poorly as they did and looked as flat as they did?
Incredibly. I think that's the most devastating part of all of this, right? Like if this was on the tail end of a stretch of maybe 4 or 5 games of maybe like a murderer's row portion of your schedule, then I think it's a little more explainable. But a lot of the talk in bye weeks is that, bye weeks now, I mean, I think Dow Loggins alluded to it, bye weeks now are all about getting healthy, being available, getting available, and having a whole extra week to maybe prepare for Ole Miss the way that you would like to, more than maybe any other week that you can. And the fact that you still were that flat on offense, and I do think they were a little unprepared for certain things on offense. And I think that's what, as one of the reasons why you only score 3 points. I think defensively, they're able to hold their own, especially given some of the very advantageous field position Ole Miss got through a lot of that game through turnovers, fumble, going forward on 4th down on the fake punt, all that type of stuff. To me, it did feel like you were just very unprepared offensively going into that game. And, using the Mike Tyson quote that everybody's got to play until you get hit in the mouth. Well, you got hit in the mouth pretty early on offense, or at least you hit yourself in the mouth by by faking the punt and then fumbling the ball in Ole Miss territory. I don't think they ever really got back up from that. And there was definitely like a lethargic feeling on the offensive side of the ball for almost that entire second half, because you're able to move the ball like relatively well. Because I think Ole Miss kind of took their foot off the gas in terms of blitzing Sellers and sending more help into the backfield. But it's the fact that you couldn't muster more than 3 points after that whole bye week makes us so much worse. And I think offensively, you should have been at least way more prepared, way more sharp on that side of the ball. I'm not asking you to go out there and score 40 points, because Ole Miss can play defense. Like, that's a pretty good team defensively. But to only come away with 3 and to really not feel like you were that close, despite being close to scoring a few times, especially in that second half, is really the deflating part, is to leave that entire game without scoring a single touchdown, considering you basically had an entire second half with the ball.
Well, you think about it, Elijah, you had 2 legit turnovers, the fumble and the interception. And the interception was bad. And the fumble, nobody touched Robbie Ashford. It was, remember, he had faked, I think, to Attaway, and he was gonna take off up the middle, and the ball just slipped out of his hands. Then you go with 3 times getting stopped on downs, including the fake punt. So basically, you had 5 turnovers in the football game to go with your 8 penalties. And that's what happens to you when you cross midfield 7 times and only come away with 3 points. I guess the good news, if you're going to try to be glass half full, is you did get the ball in enemy territory 7 times.
Yep.
But now you have to sit back and go, oh, geez. How? Well, thank you very much. We appreciate you very much. Thanks for coming out.
Love it.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Thank you. All right, Elijah Campbell, who was with at the Shane Beamer presser. Elijah will be back with Jay in the 3 o'clock hours. They start the post-game show. Appreciate you always, bud. Thanks for hopping in.
Thank you, fellas.
All right, we'll get back in here. What's trending at 2, sponsored by Traditions Fine Jewelry and Gamecock Traditions. There was a football game last night, and a lot of baseball playoffs are going. We're live at Northside Baptist Church. We'll talk more about that coming up on the halftime show on the game.
Hunt picking his way to the end zone. Touchdown, Kansas City.
What's trending at 2, sponsored by Traditions Fine Jewelry and Gamecock Traditions. It's what the Chiefs do last night. Kansas City, Sunday Night Football, they just methodically beat the Saints. It was 26-13. It might as well have been 126-13. Kansas City dominated the game. I mean, again, time of possession is a very overrated stat, but the Chiefs had the ball, Tyler, 40 minutes of this football game.
That high that the Saints were on the first couple weeks of the regular season, they're scoring about 40 points a game. That's come down to earth a little bit. Derek Carr got hurt at the end of last night's game, but they weren't doing a whole lot on offense up to that point. And Patrick Mahomes actually had his best game of the one of the best games of the regular season stat wise, as far as passing yards, 331. Didn't throw a touchdown, did throw the one interception, but again, like we said, even though the Chiefs offense is not clicking just yet, they are still doing very well on defense, and that's what's winning them these games.
Yeah, I mean, Mahomes, like you said, went for 331. His quarterback rating this year is under 90. It's like 89. This year he's thrown 6 touchdown passes and 6 picks. And he just hasn't been Mahomesy. But last night you saw Patrick Mahomes at his best this year. Travis Kelce got going. Somehow Juju Smith-Schuster, they got the cobwebs off of him. He had a big day. They bring back Kareem Hunt, who they kicked to the curb years ago.
Yep.
You know, again, he only averaged 3.8 yards a carry, but he totaled it 27 times for 102 yards. Kansas City's defense shut down New Orleans. Saints were missing, I think, 3 starters on the offensive line. It just was easy.
You know, that's something that I really respect about Andy Reid is, you know, when they see a problem on their team, they'll say, you know what, why don't we go out there and get the guy that helped us in years past and just plug him right back in. They did the same thing, you know, with Kareem Hunt. They had brought back Mecole Hardman, you know, a season ago when they were having trouble with wide receiver. Like, that's something you don't see a lot of teams do when it seems like a really easy answer to a question that you have.
The door's always open. Look, the thing is to win. And if a guy helped you win, and let's just say he moved on for salary cap reasons because he wanted to be a starter, or because he wanted to see what was out there for himself, or you didn't want to keep him around for whatever your reason, there was no shut the door on him. Kareem Hunt, remember, that was a huge off-the-field issue that led to Kareem Hunt leaving Kansas City.
Right.
And, you know, now years later, he's back, and they need help at running back because Isaiah Pacheco's out. You know, I mean, when Kareem Hunt is anywhere near what he used to be, he's going to run it, he's going to catch it, he can help you even though he's not the player he was 5 years ago. Juju Smith-Schuster, they brought him back, Tyler, from a couple years ago.
Right.
He was really good last night.
Buck
like
30.
you said, Mecole Hardman last night had 4 grabs and 4 targets. That's what Kansas City does. Andy Reid's like, look, if we leave on decent terms, which we will, most likely, we can always bring you back. Or if we leave on not so decent terms, like, again, when you look at Kareem Hunt's issues, you know, he's back now, years later. So at the end of the day, the Chiefs are about W's. And they win again. They're undefeated. Every game except this one was close until last night when they dominated New Orleans. And, you know, they're undefeated. They're 5-0. You look at the AFC. Nobody in the AFC right now, you go, wow, they could unseat the Chiefs. The Bills aren't what they were last year. I don't think the Ravens are what they were last year. The Steelers, no. The Texans might be the one team with all that young talent and a quarterback that looks like he could be a high-level franchise guy at some point. It feels like the Texans are the one team right now as we speak that could have the best shot at getting after Kansas City. I mean, we'll see what happens with the Bills and the Ravens moving forward, or the Bengals or whoever. But right now, it feels like Kansas City's in a really good spot, Tyler, in the AFC.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, they're going to figure things out on offense. Obviously, Travis Kelce's starting to heat up these past couple games. They're going to get better, which is a scary thought for the rest of the league, because if they're 5-0, not playing anywhere close to their best version of football, when they do start playing that best version of football, they're really going to be unstoppable. And
this popped earlier today. The New York Jets have fired Robert Saleh. Jets started 2-3. A woeful performance in London, wouldn't you say? Woeful,
to say the least. Yes, I'm surprised they didn't leave Robert Saleh on the in London and didn't let him come back.
Right. All of a sudden, he's up there in the Big Ben clock tower.
But at the same time, Aaron Rodgers was pretty woeful himself. Threw 3 interceptions on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, Look, Robert Saleh, it was not a successful tenure. Saleh was what, 20-36, I believe, 20-37, 20-36. And the biggest problem was the offense and quarterback. It was quarterback was a revolving door. The offense never could get going. The defense was really good under Saleh. And it might just be as easy. This is a guy who's a really good defensive coordinator who's just not a head coach. That's okay. There's a bunch of those guys.
Yeah.
You move Jeff Ulbrich in as the interim, who, by the way, was the defensive coordinator.
Sure.
So how much of this is Robert Saleh's fault, Tyler?
Not all of it. It's certainly on the ownership, and obviously this all the things they were doing to try and accommodate for Aaron Rodgers. I want to throw a few stats at you. This is from Ben Solak of ESPN. Of course, Robert Saleh is a defensive-minded head coach. He said since the 2021 season, Robert Saleh is first in New York. The Jets defense is first in points per drive, first in EPA per play, and third in success rate on defense, despite playing the fourth most snaps over that stretch. Obviously, they've had a litany of issues on offense, but that defense has always been good since Saleh's been there.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem, is they just couldn't get it going on offense. And that's why it leads you to believe right now in Robert Saleh's career, he's a really good defensive coordinator who is not quite ready to be a head coach or really isn't going to be a head coach material. Now, what do you do if you're the Jets? I mean, you got to look at your real head coach, who was Aaron Rodgers. And this Aaron Rodgers thing, once you get Aaron Rodgers, everything accelerates, correct?
Yeah.
Everything accelerates.
Of course.
Because you got to win now because Aaron Rodgers is 40, and then it gets even more as a sense of urgency because he's got one good Achilles, and you've got to maximize this guy. He's making a lot of money too.
Well, here's the thing. Aaron Rodgers is 40 and he looks 40. I know everybody has this, idea in their mind that he's going to be Tom Brady in those last couple of years in Tampa Bay, but he looked awful on Sunday. He was hobbling off the field. That video of him crawling off the field after getting knocked down, like he looks like he's 40 years old. Those years of him flinging the ball with his eyes closed seem to be in the past. I don't know how much better he's going to get in New York now.
He looks 80. It was not good. But see, you sold your soul for Aaron Rodgers, hoping he'd be Tom Brady or Peyton Manning, who went on to their second act and had both of them end up winning Super Bowls as part of the Bucs and the Broncos. That's what you're hoping you were going to get with Aaron Rodgers. But the thing with those guys is what they are off the field.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys are flat out no nonsense leaders, right?
Right.
They hold people to high expectations. They get guys to follow them. Basically, they ran their offenses. They were the offensive coordinators in Denver and Tampa.
Sure.
And that's what the Jets were hoping to get with Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron Rodgers brought his boy Nathaniel Hackett with him, but Nathaniel Hackett is terrible. He's an awful offensive coordinator. You saw that in Denver when he was the head coach. The Jets have done jack under Hackett.
Has Nathaniel Hackett successfully tanked two organizations back to back?
Yeah, I mean, yes. To answer your question, he is not a good offensive coordinator, but he's Aaron Rodgers' boy. Aaron Rodgers loved him in Green Bay when he was a quarterback coach.
Right.
So you're stuck with this guy. And if he's running Aaron Rodgers' offense, Aaron Rodgers has got to quit worrying about his buddy and realize that this cat can't coordinate an offense. And that's really hurt them. And the fact that, you sold your soul to Aaron Rodgers. This is his guy, and you're stuck with it now. And now you just got to ride it and hope this thing can get itself turned around. You're only 5 games in. You're 2-3. The world hasn't ended. But, again, you decide to fire your head coach after 5 games. So you almost look like you're in a panic mode more than you're in a, hey, we know what's going on here and we got control.
Well, rarely do you ever fire your coach in the middle of the season and expect to get better. That's usually kind of punting to looking ahead to next year, which, again, you're not completely out of it. You're still in an okay spot, which makes the timing of this all the more weird.
It's very weird. And, again, Woody Johnson is not known as one of the greatest owners in the NFL.
Which, by the way, he's never
Jets,
fired a coach in season before.
I know, until this time, and I think this is because of the Aaron Rodgers effect. Now, here's my last question before we move on from this. How much does Aaron Rodgers sign off on this? Because you figure with the position Aaron Rodgers is in that organization, he's got to be the guy that signed off on it, right?
Oh, of course.
He had to. He could have walked in and saved Robert Saleh.
Totally.
But he didn't. And that tells you a lot that you need to know right there. Because if Aaron Rodgers wanted to keep Robert Saleh around, Robert Saleh would still be the head coach. So this, again, goes through Aaron Rodgers. We're here at Northside Baptist Church. They've taken a little bit of a break, I think, from collections. They will in a minute, and they'll come back at 4:30. Be here 4:30 to 6:30. 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock to 6. So, Jeannie, my official timekeeper, says 4 o'clock to 6:30. They will be back here collecting non-perishable items to help out the folks in Greenville, Spartanburg, and Asheville. It's the greatest day in the history of the world. That's coming up next here on the halftime show live from Northside Baptist Church till 3 here on the game. Would you like to change your career? Maybe try something different. Maybe you're stuck, you're bored, not fulfilled. Well, you should go and check out what's going on at Winland Foods. The American Italian Pasta Company is who Winland Foods is. All you do is go to winlandfoods.com/careers because right now they are hiring multi-craft maintenance techs, press operators, packaging operators, high school diploma, GED, 1 year manufacturing experience required for all these positions. Competitive pay, matching the 401k, also paid parental leave, excellent PTO time as well. Really good bonus program, fair hourly wage. Again, go to winlandfoods.com/careers. If you like pasta and you want to work at a clean manufacturing environment with growth, winlandhomes.com/careers. Go check it out. Change your life, change your career. Eat some pasta. Oh, greatest day in the history of the world is October the 8th. Terry Ford, Tyler Head. I am hanging out here live at Northside Baptist Church. Tyler back in Mission Control, making sure we stay on the air because it's tough for me to do that from here.
Yeah,
And
I wouldn't trust you to do that from all the way over there.
I can't. I don't trust me to do it in that studio.
Well, I wasn't going to say that, but if you say so.
Bad. I was in there today messing around. I hit a button and hell broke loose.
Oh, I know. I was on the air when that happened.
I know. I was like, why is that started, Dave? Oh, I clicked that. Okay. Anyway, so greatest day in the history of the world, October 8th. We always go old school with the first one. It's kind of our tradition.
Yep.
1933. A running back named Cliff Battles of the Boston Redskins becomes first NFL player to gain more than 200 yards rushing in a game. Went for 215 and a 21-20 win over the New York Giants. You're saying, gee, Tara, who's that Cliff Battles guy? Well, Cliff Battles was the son of Frank Battles. You're saying, wow, Frank Battles? You know who Frank Battles was, right, Tyler?
Enlighten me.
Salt worker for B.F. Goodrich.
Okay, I was not
I'm just
expecting
looking
to
at the
know
bio,
that.
man.
I
can't believe you didn't know that.
Well, see, I'm running through my mind like, all right, history of the NFL, Frank Battles. I'm trying to think here, but no, I
Right.
didn't have that one on my card.
I did the same thing when I first saw it. I said, oh, he worked for B.F. Goodrich. Okay. It's kind of a bizarre thing on his Wikipedia page. Anyway, Battles was inducted in the NFL Hall of Fame in 1968. Had a good NFL career. He played his college football at West Virginia Wesleyan College, that powerhouse today. So he had a good NFL career, ended up in the NFL Hall of Fame, played in some big games, had some, again, stats are always weird in time frames, right?
Sure.
Here's what he did. He played 6 years.
Yep.
And that was it. But he had good seasons, and he ended up in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. You might look at his numbers and go, that guy's in the Hall of Fame? Why? But a different time, different era, and neither one of us were alive.
I think that's kind of funny that his dad worked for B.F. Goodrich, and that was obviously the early days of the NFL. His dad probably told him, you need to quit that football thing and get yourself a real job.
Oh, yeah. You didn't make any money playing football because it was funny. Jay Burmeister won the first Heisman Trophy, I believe.
From Chicago, right?
And turned down the NFL because he wasn't going to make enough money.
That's right.
I believe the story goes. And a guy, Byron Whizzer White, who ended up being a Supreme Court justice, was a great college football player. But he was like, I can make more money doing that law thing. Put that in the context of today real quick.
It's
some
crazy
guy
to
turning
think about.
down the NFL, right? To go, I'm going to go work at my dad's auto shop. I make more money.
I'll make more money changing oil than running this football.
Yes. It's hilarious. Also, greatest day in the history of the world, October the 8th. We'll spin to more current stuff here of things that we all know when we were alive. Drew Brees throws a 62-yard touchdown pass, making him the NFL all-time leader in yards passing. Saints beat Washington 43-19. Brees eclipses Peyton Manning, his mark of 71,940 yards.
That's back-to-back Drew Brees, because yesterday Jack and I had him passing Johnny Unitas for the most consecutive games with a touchdown pass back in 2012 when he threw one to Devery Henderson.
That was 47 consecutive games if my memory serves me.
Yes, he got to 54 eventually.
That is almost like Joe DiMaggio's 56-game hitting streak.
Yeah.
Think about throwing a touchdown pass in 54 consecutive games. That's over 3 straight years of throwing touchdown passes in every game.
Well, and he's in the top 5 on that list twice, by the way.
I did not know that.
Yes, he is. He's
Nice
also 5th as well, which is crazy.
It's crazy. Drew, and think about this. Here's a guy who was basically kicked to the curb for Phillip Rivers, who in his own right was a hell of a quarterback.
Right.
And Drew Brees, people forget this. He was hurt. He got hurt with the Chargers, the rotator cuff thing. Phillip Rivers was drafted to basically take Drew Brees' spot with the Chargers. Remember, they drafted Eli Manning first, and then they traded because Eli Manning and the Manning family did not want Eli with the Chargers.
Right.
So Brees was damaged goods. The Dolphins, I'm going to try to put the timeline together. The Dolphins had a head coach named Nick Saban.
Yeah, that guy.
They were very interested in Drew Brees, but he ended up in New Orleans, and you see where all that went.
Of course.
What if the Dolphins get Drew Brees and he plays like he did in New Orleans?
Was Pennington Saban's quarterback in Miami? Am I thinking about that right?
I think yes, and wasn't Viking quarterback Dante Culpepper, I think, also ended up in Miami at that time.
Okay.
Remember, he
Yeah.
blew out a knee with the Vikings and then tried to come back.
There's definitely a difference in those two guys and Drew Brees.
I would say so. So it's just weird the world goes. Again, Brees, there was a lot of smoke. He was going up in Miami, but instead he landed. And look, how much of it because he was with Sean Payton, and Payton and Brees was a perfect marriage.
Sure. And as somebody that's a fan of a fellow NFC South team, when Brees got to New Orleans, that was a talk. Is man, this guy's washed. He's got this knee injury. He's not gonna amount to anything. But yeah, him and Sean Payton ended up being a match made in heaven, and obviously, ran roughshod through the NFC South and won a Super Bowl in the process.
All right, this is a good one. I got two more.
All right.
1995. Dan Marino breaks Fran Tarkenton's NFL career completions record. People forget just how good Dan Marino was. Phenomenal. And the people always say, didn't win a Super Bowl. I can't have a conversation with someone when they throw that out.
That's not the end all be all.
No. If you're going to go by that, then you would take Trent Dilfer over Dan Marino.
Oh, who wouldn't?
Yeah, it's a no-brainer, right? So Dan Marino breaking Fran Tarkenton's NFL career completions record on this day in 1995. Final one. Run this in your skull real quick.
Okay.
2005. The Baylor Bears win a Big 12 road game for the first time in the league's 10-year history. They had gone 0-37 on the road in the Big 12 over 10 years. Then 2005 finally.
People forget how bad a shape that program was in at one point in time.
Yeah. I mean, we can talk about the off-the-field stuff that went on there and things of that nature. And, yeah, they became very successful under two different head coaches. But, yeah, that program was a mess, an absolute mess for a long time. And right now it's and Dave Aranda might lose his job at the end of the year if they don't bounce back and get to a bowl game.
Yeah, I think Aranda had success too quickly there, to be honest with you.
Yep.
And now he's suffering the after effects of not living up to that since then.
And the other thing is you took another guy's players and you were very successful with another guy's players, but since it's become more of your program, it's become less successful.
Hey, that's what happened to Will Muschamp in Florida.
It happens. It happens. Greatest day in the history of the world, October the 8th. Of course, we've talked a lot of Gamecocks here on the show. And just kind of, what little remnants of what's gone on from Saturday, the loss to Ole Miss. Shane Beamer talked at 1 o'clock to the media. We will re-rack that throughout the day. And we'll also have our Firehouse Sub Text the Hour coming up at 803-404-6100. But first of all, let's talk about the Nest. In the Vista, on Gadsden, if you, in any way, shape, or form, need to, I don't know, take a look at what you got going on with your kitchen, your bathroom, your lighting, your fixtures. You just want to do something different. Maybe you like just new appliances in the kitchen. Let's go there. Maybe you want a new nice stove that does a lot of other things that yours does now. Maybe you want a new fridge. Maybe you're looking at just maybe a new microwave to set up differently in the way your kitchen is rolling out. The Vista, Gadsden, the Nest. Call the Nest. Set yourself up with just go in and do an appointment. It's very simple, very easy. Call 803-978-2025. Tell them your budget, your goals, your dreams about whether it's appliances, lighting, fixtures, tub, whatever the case. Sit down with them. They will go through their vast, awesome showroom, and they will find what you're looking for in your budget that will match your goals and dreams. 803-978-2025, 1331 Gadsden. It is the Nest in the Vista. I will get to our Firehouse Sub text the hour in just a couple minutes, but first we are hanging here live at the Northside Baptist Church. We're here for a great cause to help out the folks in Greenville and Spartanburg and Asheville, collecting non-perishable items. And we are filling boxes and containers. We have Pastor Steve Allen from the Northside Baptist Church. First of all, Pastor, thanks for putting up with us here. We appreciate you letting us take over the parking lot. Thank you, my man.
We're so thankful to have y'all. I can't tell you how many people have come through here, and we ask them, how'd you hear about this? They said, we heard it on the radio.
That's fantastic. It's always good, like when we're doing this like this, we're sitting here like you and I are talking, people will pull up and they'll scream, "Oh, we love listening," and they start talking to you. You're like, that's great, we're on the air, but we love you. Thank you very much. And today, if someone just, they haven't caught on to what we're doing yet, just kind of talk a couple minutes about why we are set up out here and what we're trying to do to help the folks in Greenville, Spartanburg, and Asheville.
Well, we are right now collecting non-perishable items that we can take down there, that they can hold, and they can give out to the people who are in need. Y'all have all seen, everyone's seen the videos and the stories, the heart-wrenching stories of people that are living in that area and what they're doing without. They have such a need right now, a desperate need. And so we're going to take this stuff, we're going to take it up there to, like you said, Spartanburg, Greenville area, and they're going to get it to those people who need it most. Right now, we are collecting toilet paper, we are collecting blankets, we're collecting water, canned goods, toiletries, and we're filling. We got a trailer out here, 56-foot trailer. We're half full already.
And you're driving the trailer, right? You're driving the truck. You're not going to get on the 18-wheeler and go for it?
My wife didn't even let me drive the Tahoe.
And you're right about like what's going on in those areas. It's like, especially in areas that typically don't get this kind of weather event, or they're not prepared for this type of weather event for whatever the reason, it just doesn't get to them. And then like in some of these areas, they weren't equipped for all of this and what's happened to them, whether it's water, whether it's, anything, like you said, the non-perishable stuff. It's heartbreaking to watch what's been going on, just in our region, in our area, in the neighboring states.
It is. And the thing about it for those folks, it's about to get really cold over there. And that's why we've been so appreciative of blankets that we've gotten and coats. And, some people have even brought some stuffed animals for the kids.
Very nice.
To give to them. But I want to tell you, I've been blown away just by the community response to this.
Yeah.
It has touched my heart just how people are giving to help our neighbors up north.
Yeah, we've been sitting here doing the show, and we're just watching a stream of people coming in and filling up all these boxes. Like you said, the truck's halfway full, and it's going really well.
It is going great, man. And I tell you, there is such a heart for giving. Everybody that comes here is just like pumped up to be able to give this stuff to help people up north.
It feels good to help people.
Yeah, it does.
You're like, I'm helping people. I'm being a good guy. Absolutely. So, and we thank you. We thank you folks here at Northside for letting us come out and do this. And again, we're just trying to help out and do what we can. And we know you folks are doing the same thing.
There's nothing better I could be doing right now. And thank y'all for doing this. Because of y'all, we are getting this response that we're experiencing right now. So we appreciate y'all. Y'all are great partners.
All right. Thanks. I'll talk to your wife about getting the Tahoe for you. I'll work on that.
Thank you.
Pastor Steve Allen from the Northside Baptist Church. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Terry.
Jumping on, Pastor. All right, Tyler, let's hit the hour at 803-404-6100. What do you got, my friend?
That's going back to the Bengali Kamara deciding to self-shirt himself, as we've coined the phrase. Troy says, the transfer portal John giveth, and the transfer porta John taketh away. So that's how he's dealing with it, at least.
And I think that's what it does in so well.